Have you ever wondered how some investors are able to lock down single-digit interest rates from their hard money lenders and you're getting quoted 12, 13%? Well, this is my number one favorite topic, and it's how hard money lenders look at you as a borrower and how they price and size loans. And that's not your credit, your debt to income ratio, your employment status. It's your experience. And in this video, we're going to talk all about how your experience can drive interest rates lower, it can drive points lower, and ultimately it can drive your leverage higher. So this is one of my favorite topics in hard money lending, in that we love to say that we can be logical in how we look at a sponsor, a borrower, when underwriting a loan. And it's because it's true. We don't look at a borrower's debt to income ratio, employment status. We're not looking at a rate based on your credit score. We're looking at your credit score as a floor that you must exceed. And usually it's 660. After that, we're going to look at your experience. Your experience as a borrower drives the bus for companies like asset-based lending. We're going to be looking at your deal, let's say it's a fix and flip, and we're going to be looking at your experience and saying the borrower has a lot of experience in a fix and flip. Because of that, we're going to reward the experience with less down and lower rates and points. The more risk we have, the higher the rate and points. But the way that we do it in the hard money space, I believe, is more logical. It's experience-based. If you have 5 deals on title where you've bought, renovated, and sold on a fix and flip, you're going to qualify for our best programs. And you might get a rate of, say, 8.99%. We want to make sure that there's a little bit more cushion on value, and we're going to price the risk. So let's talk about how underwriters in the hard money space measure experience. And so what I'm going to do as a loan officer is I'm going to provide you with an experience worksheet. It's a form. It looks like a schedule of real estate owned that's simply going to ask you to list all of the projects like kind that you're doing. So when I say like kind, I mean if you're coming to me to fund a ground up construction project, I'm going to ask you to list all of the ground up projects that you've completed, exited in the last 3 years on title, or houses that you've built on permits. And then I'm going to review, count up the number of deals that you've exited or built on permit, and reward that experience with the appropriate interest rate and points and leverage. So we literally have a pricing matrix that says a borrower with 5 builds done in the last 3 years qualifies for this rate and this point and this leverage. If at the end of the day the borrower has 3 to 4 builds under their belt, it might be a rate of 50 basis points higher than a builder with 5. So that's what we're looking at specifically in terms of experience. The other important factor, as I say, is the 3-year window is also a super important factor. We're not looking at the lifetime project experience of a borrower. We're looking at specifically in the last 3-year window, because that allows us to understand that the borrower knows the market for materials, has access to contractors, and can get through the project within reasonable time frame, versus maybe someone that hasn't been in the market maybe since COVID, as an example, doesn't understand the cost of materials and doesn't have access to the contractors to be able to meet timelines. We're going to evaluate an experience track record that's going to be on an Excel spreadsheet that we're going to count up the number of deals that you've exited or been on permit in, specifically in relation to a ground up construction loan. And then we're going to reward that experience. And don't be shy if you're a first time, let's call it borrower or builder on spec. We will do these deals. We fund first timers all the time. It's important that we do, because I really feel like private credit fills a void in the marketplace to begin with, but certainly when it comes to that space. One of the pro tips I'm going to put out there is that if you don't have any experience, but you want the benefit of higher leverage, lower rates, you can partner up with a borrower that has that experience. We can bring them on as a co-guarantor. We'll call it PG2. That's a quick little pro tip in terms of, how to get the best rate, points leverage from a hard money lender going in if you don't have the experience you want to have based on, whatever rate you're being offered. If you're not getting that, you obviously can always call me and we can walk through it, and I will show you transparently exactly what your experience means to us and how we reward that experience. So how we measure experience as a hard money lender is very specific. It's a trust and then verify process, as I like to call it. We're going to collect an experience worksheet right up front when you start the application with us, and we're going to ask you to fill out and list projects that you've done specifically in the last 3 years. If you're coming to me for a fix and flip, we're going to want to see all the fix and flips you've done and projects you've been involved in. So let's talk specifically about how experience can change your loan terms with a hard money lender. And we'll talk about how borrower, let's say with 2 experience, comes to me right alongside a borrower with 3 experience and with the same exact deal. Borrower with 2 experience is going to be limited to 65% of the after repair value, whereas a borrower with 3 experience will be able to go up to 70%, which can change the overall loan dramatically. If for some reason, say the appraisal comes in light, the borrower with more experience gets the benefit of higher leverage, maybe the loan amount doesn't change. So clearly we're able to go to a higher loan amount with a 3 experienced borrower. In fact, 5 points of leverage versus a 2 experienced borrower. So as a new investor, it's really important you know what you need for a track record, because you may not have it now, but you're going to want to be building a track record and ultimately filling the file on yourself along the way. And so when it comes specifically to verifying experience, we're going to be looking at 2 different things. We're going to be looking at on title and on permit experience. Let's start with on title experience. On title experience in the last 3 years is effectively you purchasing, renovating, and selling a property. We're going to have you list that information, the dates of purchase, the purchase amount, the renovation, and the schedule. And then when we go into processing, we're going to ask to verify that you actually owned it. So what are we going to need? We're going to be going in and looking at who owned it, which LLC owned it, and we're going to want to collect the operating agreement for that LLC and then connect the dots showing that you owned the LLC. And then that's a 1 experience. The key for you as you start to get into projects is that you build your own track record by collecting the information, making sure that you are papering the title and the ownership correctly, so that you're getting credit for owning it. At the end of the day, right, it's always good to know your destination. So now you're on that path, knowing what you need to be building, in terms of a profile on yourself, is to know that us as a lender, we're going to want to know that we have something that's verifiable on record for you. And your job is to start filling that file for yourself so that you can take your business, your investments to the next level so that you can grow. I think one of the biggest mistakes new investors make is that they get into deals through handshakes. Maybe they throw $10,000 into a buddy's fix and flip and they get paid back just because of their trust in the relationship. They're not on title. There's nothing verifiable that would tie them to the project. So there's nothing a lender, an underwriter can do to give that person credit for that experience. And oftentimes you see that. You see folks getting into the fix and flip game or the real estate investment game because they have a few bucks and they throw it into a deal, but they're not thinking about maybe a future in it. And then it becomes the future, and then they want to look back and count that experience, but we can't because there's nothing on title to verify that. So at the end of the day, that's one of the biggest things, is knowing the game when you get in and making sure that you're on record so that we can verify that experience and then, ultimately get you better terms and more leverage as a result. So as you build experience, it builds trust with your lender, and then it rewards you with cheaper, faster, and a lot more of what you're looking for, which is loan proceeds to fund your projects and to allow you to do what you do best, which is to grow as an investor and to build out your portfolio. My name is Mike Chadwick. I've been in the space for a long time, helping investors scale. I'll be making a lot of videos like this. So if you like it, please subscribe, and comment if you have any questions. I love the hard money space because it rewards experience. We don't have to get into the weeds as it relates to borrowers' financial status, or I like to say, the borrower financial proctology exam.